Hello, Janksters, and welcome to another edition of the MagicJank podcast, the weekly show where members of Team MagicJank get together and we talk about the latest happenings in Magic the Gathering. And holy cow, things are happening right now. As of this recording, it is actually pre-release weekend for Edge of Eternities. And just last week, we also had the Streamer Early Access event, which I know a lot of us were pretty busy around because that's always a big hullabaloo when the time comes. So I'm joined by a couple lovely gentlemen. First and foremost, we got Astralsflame. How's it going, man?
It's going good, Ham. How you doing today? And happy Sunday.
Doing well. Happy Sunday to you as well, and happy Monday or Tuesday, whenever, or some random Wednesday in the future, whenever folks are listening. It's good to have you, man. And then, last but not least, we have Damien F16 as well. How's it going, man?
Good. Glad to be back. It's been a couple weeks. I think we missed a week, so it's good to be here. And
we did unfortunately miss last week. That's on me. Sorry about that, everybody.
People are busy. It's all good.
Yes.
But we did all do the early access, and I've also played a little bit of Edge of Eternities. I haven't waded into Constructed. I know you have, but I played a bunch of Limited. So between us and Astral's experience as well, we've got everything covered, I think, for you guys today. So
I think so as well, and I have no doubt when we get Carlo online, he'll have impressions as well. Because the thing is, getting Carlo's trying to book time for Carlo on early access or on pre-release weekends are really hard because he does like 12 events or something shocking like that. So he's just booked.
He's one of those people who likes to be busy. He's always doing something.
100%. It's impressive, and he doesn't drop balls though. He stays on top of everything. It's really impressive. Yeah. Anyway, but yes, so that's why he's not joining us today. But I'm hopeful that next week we get his impressions on things. Because early access. We got a chance to play with our new toys. With Edge of Eternities, and also, so Damien, you mentioned that you were also participated in a paper pre-release this weekend, correct? I was unable to get to one.
Yeah, my first paper pre-release in 4 years, I want to say, at least.
Oh wow!
I just don't go to the shop. Yeah, I don't have a community here anymore. I moved back to Canada, in 2020. It was COVID, and that's when I started streaming, and I basically haven't gotten out of the house since. I work from home, so I don't ever go out and meet people. So Magic friends, zero. There's one dude I know who kind of plays Magic, but he's not the kind of person who would go to a shop and play an event. But weirdly enough, I went to a bachelor party a few weeks ago, and a couple of the guys that were buddies with the guy who was getting married went to a Final Fantasy pre-release, and they play Magic, and I was like, oh, really? Nice. Okay, well, let me know if you guys are going to the Edge of Eternities one. So they messaged me, and so I got together with them, and I went. So went to a little shop I've never been. Yeah, it was fun. Went to a little shop near here that I've never been to, and it was about 20-something players. But unfortunately, so the experience was great. Had opened a red-black deck. It's not, I don't know. It was okay. It had a lot of removal, and we will talk about the set in a minute. But I was a little bit weirded out by the prize support. I know these days Magic costs more than ever, right? I mean, the Final Fantasy debacle with pricing and everything. But even this, it was $50 Canadian for the pre-release, and it was 3 rounds. And I was like, what? 3 rounds? I'm pretty sure 20-something players? That's I think it's anything over 12 players should be 4 rounds. But anyway, or is it 12? Yeah, something like that. But only 3 rounds. Yeah, and I'm like, what are the prizes? I don't know. I was a competitive player. I care about the prize support and the prize structure and the EV. It matters to me. I know a lot of people don't care about that stuff, but you go to some shops, they have 50 players, and the first place is a box, of the new set. But it was 1 pack per win. So the most you could get, even if you went 3-0, is 3 packs of play boosters, not collector booster or anything. Yeah. And I was kind of like, okay, so that was weird and kind of disappointing. And, I'm not sure. And this is where everybody's experience is different when it comes to LGSs, because they all have different prize structures. And I've seen some that changed the prize structure after the tournament started. Big no-no. If you're a TO or a shop organizer, never do that. We literally boycotted that shop after that. That was in South Korea. But so I don't know. You guys maybe go to the shop more than I do. Again, this was my first time in a long time. So is that what are your typical prize supports for a pre-release?
It's funny. I haven't been to too many pre-releases, but I've been to more than that. Yeah. Like in the last 2 years, it's been I think 4 maybe. I've been to a handful. Okay. A number of shops in my area will run just what they call their pre-release, and it's that there's no top 8 or anything, and it's 1 pack per win. But the entries tend to be really cheap. It's like $20-$25, basically the cost of what you get, and any other additional packs are kind of gravy. It's like It's basically you're buying the pre-release kit and then jamming a couple of games. And if you get a couple bonus packs, neat. It's really just for the experience. And I've noticed that in my experience at a handful of local game stores here in Southern Michigan, it's it's a lot of very casual players who aren't necessarily really that invested. But a couple of those same shops have also offered the premium pre-release, which is like a, 4 to 5 round with a cut to top 8, and it's more a series, and they have much higher price support, but those are the ones where it's like $50 entry or whatever. The buy-in is higher, but there is more significant price support. So I've seen both, but a typical pre-release is like, it's a 3-hour kind of knock it out and then go about your day, kind of a situation. So it sounds like what you're describing is something I've seen pretty, a lot of pre-releases are like that. But yeah, the EV on it isn't really great.
It was weird. And 3 rounds, like you spend a bunch of time building your deck, and then 3 rounds, like I feel like I barely got to play with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Astrals, what were you saying?
Yeah.
No, you're good. Like I've found kind of similar. Like usually when I head to a pre-release, it's like a 3 to 4 hour window because they'll set up like every 4 hours it's on a rotation just because of the shop hours. But we would do like you get like 1 hour to build the deck in the sealed, and then an hour for 3 rounds, and then if you go your 3-0 undefeated, usually it's 3-0 gets like 6 to 9 packs. 2 and something can get like 6 packs. One in the X I don't think either gets 1 pack or doesn't get any. I'd have to double check, but like 3-0 would get like the usual high amount, but it was usually like 6 to 9 packs for like first place.
Well, here the minimum where I went, if you go 0-3, you still get a pack. So you get a pack no matter what. Maybe that's why the top part of the prize support was less, but I don't know. It was just weird. I again, it's been so long since I've been to a shop. It just all was like, okay. But the games were good, and the set is wild. I like I said, I drafted this Rakdos deck, had a bunch of removal. In round 2, like you said, Ham, there's a lot more casual crowd that comes out for pre-release. Like there were some kids there in the shop playing, and I mean, I could just, the last live Magic I played was the regional championship, and like so the difference in caliber of players, I noticed right away when somebody's kind of newish and whatever. But my round 2 opponent, this new guy, I think he was the boyfriend of another player there. And so he doesn't normally come to these things. He goes, like, this is the only story I'm going to tell from the pre-release was this. This is by far the best moment of the whole thing. He plays a 6-mana mythic that is the Draw 7, Time Twister. It's an enchantment. It's 4 colorless, 2 blue from Edge of Eternities. It's a mythic enchantment, ETB. You shuffle your graveyard and your hand into your deck, draw 7 cards. Only you, the person who casts it. And then after that, the first spell on each player's turn is free. Is that it? Weft Walking?
Weft Walking, the enchantment for 6.
Weft Walking. So he slams this on 6, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, I don't know if this is good or not, but I'm gonna do this. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. He had like one or 2 cards left in his hand. I think 1 card. So he draws 7, and I'm like, oh boy, that's bad. Well, I have 3 cards, but I get the first crack at playing something for free. So I'm like, this is gonna be fine. And this is why this card, like, we can talk about how good this actually is in limited. But so I go to my turn. I just play like I had a 4-drop or something. I played. I activated something else. I passed. He untaps. He goes, okay, my free spell is this one, and I couldn't tell what he played. He had it was a special guest card. It was one of those wacky like comic book like space old school. It was Nexus of Fate, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like, that's Nexus of Fate. Oh wow! And he's like, yeah, I get another turn. And I'm like, yes, and it was free. This is his free spell at the start of the turn. And then he puts it in his graveyard. I'm like, actually, it shuffles back in. He reads it again. He's like, oh, you're right, it does. He like puts it back in. He like starts playing a bunch of stuff, takes another turn, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, I can't win this game. This is insane. We have this big, long, drawn-out game. I end up like squeaking it out at the very end, but it was just I forgot for a second. Final Fantasy, there were tons of these, right? The special guest cards. The rate at which you open the special guests in this set is much lower. It's 1 per every 8 packs. So you'll see on average, this is on average, so you'll see about 3 per draft. However, some of them are bangers. Most of them are not that amazing. I actually opened Swarm Yard, I think, the one that regenerates rats and insects and whatever. Which actually it's not bad in this set because there are a ton of insects running around. There's like a whole faction of alien insects and stuff, right? So it actually ends up being kind of relevant sometimes. But Nexus of Fate, that was
Nexus
my
of
jaw
Fate.
hit the floor. I was like, what? Oh my
Yeah.
god. Anyway,
So
that was the wildest thing that happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
is Weft Walking good in limited? Well, I don't know, but if you have Nexus of
Yeah.
Fate in your deck, that helps a lot.
Sure is then.
And I'm thinking to myself, he's gonna draw it again. I know he's gonna draw it
Mm-hmm.
again. And he's gonna play it. I'm just never gonna have another turn. Anyway,
Oh my
it was
goodness.
funny.
That's
But
insane.
that was it.
Yeah.
Other than that, pretty typical games. The limited format, if we want to transition into the
Sure.
limited talk here, I think it's good. I think it's slow, which is nice. So everybody was wondering before the set dropped, how are these spaceships going to play out? That was the spaceships are the flagship, no pun intended, mechanic of the set, and they're so slow, right? So many of them have
Mhm.
9 like chart. It's like crew 9 effectively. Everybody I'm sure by now
Right.
knows about the station mechanic who's listening, but for those of you who don't know, it's essentially a vehicle that you have to crew a bunch of times till you get it up to the level it needs to become a vehicle or become a creature permanently. So it's 8 or 9 or 10, and
Mhm.
you can keep charging them. You can use obviously summoning sick creatures to charge them, but the question, nobody could really evaluate them because we've never seen a card type quite like this. So a lot of the content creators were wondering, is this viable? If the format isn't really slow, this kind of stuff is never gonna fly. Again, no pun intended.
Man,
You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen because it's just so slow. Like 12, like the one you're showing, Lumen
yeah.
class frigate, for example.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to report. I don't know about again other people's experience. I did about 16 drafts in the early access event, and it was awesome because the format is so slow that you have a lot of time to crew these spaceships and get them to the point where they are real. And not only are you able to do it, you are probably in a lot of decks encouraged to do it. By about halfway through the early access event, I started seeing other players and me as well not attacking. Like I have a 2 drop in play with 2 power and a ship, and I'm not even going to get 2 damage in here on my opponent. The 1, the 2, the little plink 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 damage at the beginning of the game, you'd be much better off crewing a ship or stationing a ship instead of hitting your
Interesting.
opponent, because it will come down to the ships at some point in the game, and whoever has more or whoever's ship is the last ship flying will win the game. And that's what ended up happening in a lot of games. It came down to, because there's so much removal. There are 8 board wipes in this format. 8. If you include all the
Gross.
pyroclasm effects and all that stuff, that is more than we've had in any set ever, to my knowledge, except special sets. So the last set that had 8 was Amonkhet Remastered. But again, that's not a real set, right? They combined 2
Yeah.
sets there.
Yeah.
So we're tons of removal, lots of sweepers. It's all attrition. You're just killing each other's stuff. So 2-for-1s are absolutely the most high priority, more than even normal, limited, where they're always, very good. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, for example, had tons of 2-for-1s, or Duskmorn, or some the sets with adventure cards, anything with the rooms, those are all kind of 2-for-1s. This set doesn't have a lot of 2-for-1s. There are some, but because there's fewer of them, and because again card advantage is so important because it's this attrition war, the 2-for-1s are just like primo, and 3-for-1. Like if you can, the 5 mana blue draw 3, for example, cards like that are going to be very good in this format. Or anything that lets you sink your mana into it and keep getting value. Like I had that land. There's a land, colorless land. It's a factory. I think it's a rare that one of its abilities is you can pay 5 and tap and make a 2/2 robot. That kind of thing is just perfect. That's exactly what this format is all about. Sitting there grinding, spitting out dudes, and Secluded Starforge it's called. Thank you, Ham.
Yeah.
Things like that are primo in this format. It might seem super slow, but that is one of the top picks. It's very good. So anyway, that was my experience. I think it's slow. I enjoyed it a ton. So I don't know. You guys, did you do much drafting in early access or sealed?
Personally, not
Not
a
really?
ton, but I
Yeah.
did get to
Okay.
check it out, and from like what I could see on streams and stuff. Speaking to your point, Damien, like space, it was great to see that like the namesake mechanic of the set, I'll say like the stationing, the impact of it actually being seen and people using was great to see.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, okay, let's just kind of take part of this archetype. Let's just play this card because it's good. It's actually like, okay, let's actually use the mechanics and actually put something forward. Like it was
Right.
nice to see in some of the drafts. I really liked it from a perspective outside.
Nice.
Yeah, and it would be sad. It would be a real letdown if the main mechanic of the set wasn't that good in limited. Like it's happened before, and it sucks. So it's good, yeah. And so that's it. That's the TLDR. We'll see how the format develops. I know we've got our team member Headology that's probably going to join us in next week's episode, and she'll go deep, I'm sure, on the limited format. Again, I only did early access, but yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely do the full, MagicJank limited episode with Headology when we're able to lock that in, and hopefully that'll be next week. So more to come on that if we can make it work. But we'll definitely dive into that. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, it sounds like this is embodying battle cruiser magic in more ways than one, and that makes me really happy. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And I know I'm planning on drafting it quite a bit once it drops on Arena. Like, I've got all my draft tokens saved up. I'm ready to go, and
nice.
I'm looking forward to that. But during the early access, I was exclusively in the standard queue and just tinkering because there were so many weird different opportunities and different things going on. And I played a ton with Warp. I had I gotta say, I am really impressed. And there are a couple of Warp cards that really overperformed. Additionally, paradoxically, they were designed to work with stations, and as a result, they're fantastic with vehicles. Like, I found Lumbering Worldwagon is the best right now. I also love it too. Aether Drift is one of those sets that a lot of people say it's like, oh, it was pretty bad. It's not really memorable. I think we're coming. I'm personally pretty high on a lot of things, and cards like Lumbering Worldwagon, where it's crew 4, so it's a heavy crew cost. But when you're warping in cards like Anti-Causal Vestige, which casually is a 7-power 4-drop, like all of a sudden those crew costs become pretty trivial pretty fast. And the reason that these creatures all have these very high powers is so that they can station, the spacecraft efficiently, which they are able to do, which is nice. But I gotta be honest, I was I tried building with a number of spacecrafts, and I was fairly unimpressed with how they played in Constructed. Yeah, I have a feeling they'll be very similar to the vehicles in Aether Drift, where one or two of them are going to stand out and really be playable and probably be pretty good. Exactly which ones those are, we'll find out as time goes on. But in general, the spacecraft didn't... I tried to build a couple of decks based around the spacecraft specifically, and I wasn't really sold on that. That said...
I think the only...
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, you finish first. I want to say something about the vehicles because
that said, Warp was amazing. Anti-Causal Vestige also is one of those cards that you don't need to build around this. Like, just put it in your deck and it'll work. If you're doing any kind of current, like mid-range, ramp kind of situations and standard, like if you have a standard deck with green in it right now, whether we're talking some flavor of the Una package or pretty much like just about anything can take advantage of Anti-Causal Vestige if the game is going long enough. If you have a deck with a 4-drop in it, consider playing this thing. It's silly good at what it does. Additionally, it allows you to, like, if you're running blink effects, which Scroll Shift is going to be rotating, and so we don't have a good ephemerate in standard right now, and that is not an accident, I'm sure. Because if we did, ooh baby, then these guys would be busted. This, with Prototype leaving, this is our scam. There was one play. I had one play during the early access that really sold it. So I mentioned Anti-Causal Vestige because I think it's generically very, very strong. Starwinder. I love Starwinder. This is the Leviathan that is a 7/7 that can warp in for 4. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw that many cards. I did have one game.
That many cards. I didn't read that. I almost decked myself. I drew like 8 cards in one shot. I'm like, whoa, my God, what? Well, not Enduring Curiosity.
No, it's very different. Yeah. Well, and I did have one game where my opponent didn't have a blocker, and I warped in a Starwinder to crew a Lumbering Worldwagon and hit them for 9. It was great. 10 out of 10. Like that was a highlight. I don't even think I won that game, but it didn't matter. I did what I needed to do.
How did you drew 9 cards? You didn't win the game? No.
Yeah, no. Well, I might have. I don't recall exactly, but it was one of those where it was like, we were doing
in
the
Constructed.
thing. In constructed,
that's
it was
in constructed. It's good. In limited with 40-card decks. By the time I hit them with this, I had 20-something cards. I drew half my deck almost, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh my, okay, I'm gonna deck myself if I hit them again, and this guy's in play." It is
Yeah,
a May
that's
though,
scary.
which is nice. It is a May, so there
True.
was a couple of games where I hit, and I actually chose not to draw because I had single-digit cards in my deck. But yeah, that's a spicy
But
one for sure.
I
I
love
didn't
this
realize
deck.
until I hit them. Yeah, that many cards.
That
It's so
many
easy to
cards.
miss that because we have Gix and we have Enduring Curiosity and we have all these cards that they all kind of say this. Yeah, creatures hit you. Okay, I draw cards. But
Yeah.
but it's weird because yeah, go ahead.
Oh well, there's this obscure like uncommon from Duskmourn that I've actually been running in my commander decks because it has the same text on it. Fear of Failed Tests. It's a 2/7,
Oh.
and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw that many cards.
Yeah.
Well, I run
It.
like Mimeoplasms and Mutates and things like that, and so this can be pretty spicy in those kinds of decks. It's not great because it's a 5-drop 2/7, but Starwinder is just that. It is just so much better on every axis. So that's
if you
an
can curve
immediate
into it
replacement.
and curving in like 2-drop, 3-drop this on turn 4 warp, draw like 5 cards or more. Like that's
pretty
crazy.
consistently.
Yeah.
It's I think Starwinder's legit. Yeah.
Even like aside, if you're not curving into it, like imagine you were doing like a Sin Spear of Punishment kind of list with Smuggler's Surprise, like you end step, that deck runs out of gas usually, right? Like we run some Leviathan to kind of get like, all right, your Leviathans and Krakens attack, you get like 4 cards. Well, okay, maybe you don't need to summon Leviathan now. You can get in like spin with the Starwinder. One of those connects, that's an auto refill of 7 cards. And in a Smuggler's Surprise deck, that's scary because that's probably another surprise or some other big ramp piece or big creature.
Yeah.
So like that this is gas to me. I'm just sad to see Leviathan.
And it's typed Leviathan. So if you're running it with Smuggler's Surprise and Summon Leviathan, you drop Summon Leviathan, bounce the entire board, and they're both just chilling there. And you have the opportunity to draw, 6, 7, or 13 cards when you hit with both of them the following turn. It's it's pretty
not
silly.
legendary either. So not legendary means copy with the flaming horse. What is it called?
Oh gosh,
Calamity.
Smuggler's Calamity, stuff like that.
I mean,
Something like that is gross. Like, man,
disgusting.
warp saddle, right? Warp saddle is kind of like doing the warp thing, right? So the warp creatures are really good for getting a big body in way earlier than you should be able to, and then doing something with it. Like you mentioned, vehicles. Obviously, they're meant to crew spaceship, but also saddle. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, we'll see which of these see standard play, but. So go on. So you were telling us. Tell me more about your standard experiences because I played 0. So what looked good?
Well, honestly, I think white weenies look really good. So earlier when you were mentioning the spacecraft, I did bring up the 2-drop, which I do think the Lumen class frigate. Out of all of them, that one looked to be the best to me. It definitely whooped me a couple of times, and the fact that it's a spacecraft is almost incidental. Because it is a 2-drop Glorious Anthem. If it has 2 charge counters on it, other creatures you control get +1/+1. And there were a number of times where that really, like, it looks like that just works, especially because we have, I think, what might be the single best Savannah Lions ever printed in this set. And I'm saying that knowing that there have been a ton of busted Savannah Lions out there. But Lightstall Inquisitor, I got worked by this thing a couple of times, and I put it in a couple of my decks, and if you can start with it on turn 1, your opponent has a lot to worry about. So Lightstall Inquisitor is a 2/1 for a single white with Vigilance, and it's an Angel Wizard, so Angel decks have a good 1-drop now. Okay, they needed that, clearly. And when this creature enters, each opponent exiles a card from their hand, and may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, but each spell cast this way costs 1 more, and each land played this way enters tapped. So it's a 2/1 for
Annoying.
1 with 2 relevant creature types that messes with your opponent's curve.
Yeah. Pretty good. Messing with the curve
nuts.
is more powerful than it looks at first, and then you read it, you're like, oh, it's just 1 extra, like the land comes into late tap. Like, I'm playing tap lands in my deck anyway. It's not a big deal. And then you play against it, and then you realize how annoying it is. Yeah, like everything being off curve is brutal.
If you don't have a tap land in your hand, like if you already have one of the surveil lands, like okay, it's not that big a deal. But if you don't, it hurts. Like guaranteed. It's
Well, like picture you're running this, and you're let's say we turn 1, we do Lightstall Inquisitor, turn 2 D Cavern Bats, turn 3 you follow up with like a Dark Confidant. You're just like keeping the card advantage in your hand, you've now taxed the opponent's hand. Like
Well,
a
and you're
2/1
beating them up the
attacker
whole
is
time. Like,
yeah,
the
and like you're
result
gaining
damage is
life
coming through.
With vigilance, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that doesn't seem
and
bad
again,
to me.
And vigilance is a great for stationing. Like you mentioned, that Lumen class frigate. This guy can swing and then also, station. But I don't like the aspect where your opponent chooses. Like if it was you were able to look at their hand and pick something and make it cost 1 more, that's pretty great. But they choose, and that's always a little bit less great. But it doesn't matter because you're getting so much for 1 mana. Like that's not even that big a deal, right? So
this isn't a sideboard hate bear. That's just a little bit of gravy on a good aggressive 1-drop. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So white aggro looked good. I'm curious though, before you go, I don't know what other decks you played, but I heard a lot of scuttle about the sacrifice decks. We've had a bunch of sacrifice pieces in standard for a while now, and they just printed what is probably the best sack outlet that we've seen since Nantuko Husk, or I don't even know, maybe I can't remember the priest's name. Oh, Woestrider was a great one. Yeah,
Priest of the
drop.
Forgotten Gods.
Or there was Priest was Viscera Seer. That's the one. Viscera Seer. 1 mana, just free sack outlet. Now this guy's a 2 mana 3/2 Umbral Collar Zealot.
Zealot. This thing's a
with the
house.
pop collars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get an altar.
He's got a bunch of collars.
Yeah, just total bro with the pop collar. And for those of you on the audio feed, I am wearing a pink T-shirt right now, so I'm kind of I'm embodying that slightly, but I don't have the pop collar.
It's not a polo shirt.
Yeah. It's not the pop polo shirt. I need to step it up. But yeah, so Umbral Collar Zealot. This thing's a house. It's a 3/2 cleric for 2, sacrifice another artifact or creature to surveil 1. So as you can imagine, in like the Raise the Past style decks that are all 1 and 2 drops that want to fill the graveyard, this thing's insane. Like it does all the things you want.
It's got a great body. 2 mana 3/2.
That's just a 3/2 for 2.
It beats. It beats their face.
It really does. So I definitely was doing some Orzhov Sack stuff. I'm not confident that any of the decks that I put together were like really where it's at. I also was leaning a little bit too heavy on Sothera the Super Void, which it performed better than I expected, but my expectations were real low. So take that for what it's worth. Yeah. But Umbral Collar Zealot. It's the 4-drop Grave Pact.
The enchantment? Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. So that card's probably a trap, but at the end of the day, Umbral Collar Zealot is absolutely not. It is incredibly powerful. If you're doing any kind of black-based aggro, seriously consider it. Even if you're not leaving, like even if you don't have a lot of sacrifice fodder necessarily in your deck, if something's going to die anyway, and like especially if it's a trade where it's not amazing, just get a surveil off it. Nothing wrong with that. Even if you're not bringing any tokens to the party, like your opponent's going to give you map tokens with Get Lost being premium removal right now, like.
Right.
It's all gravy. Like
the fact that this guy sacks creature or artifact makes him better than like Viscera Seer, all those cards we mentioned, Husk and everything else. They all sack creatures. This guy being able to sack artifacts. This is 2025. Every other common or uncommon in the set pumps out some random artifact, whether like you mentioned maps, there's a million things that make treasure and other 1/1 tokens, and this set's heavy artifacts. There's a bunch of robot things running around, things that make robots and things that die into robots, which then can be sacked, and etc. So
absolutely.
So what did you see? So Orzhov's got to be the shell here for this, right?
So
because
Orzhov is one of them. Orzhov is one of them, and I definitely did a couple things. Sir Vondam actually played very well with that. So he's the 2-drop, 2/2 for 2 human knight with vigilance and menace, and whenever another creature you control dies or goes to exile, you put a 1/1 counter on Sir Vondam, and then when Sir Vondam dies or goes to exile, if his power is 4 or greater, you destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. I actually once got this guy had 2 counters on him. And somebody dropped the new temp lockdown, the Pinnacle Star Prison or whatever. Well, if Sir Vondam goes to exile, you get the trigger. And so Sir Vondam was exiled under it, and I was immediately able to blow it up and just got him right back. It was pretty great. And then I think it even reset some ETBs. The opponent was just like, yeah. So yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
So this card actually played far better than I realized. The one thing to note though, power and toughness reduction removal, tragic trajectory and whatnot, does prevent the trigger from going off, so that's notable, which makes makes for some interesting kind of design space. Like the type of removal that hits Vondom matters a lot. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. So this was a very fun card that I enjoyed playing with quite a bit.
Yeah, and that shell, like, again, there's so many things you can do with that. I know that there's an infinite combo with it's actually just all contained in Edge of Eternities Limited. I don't know if you guys saw the infinite loop. So with that sack outlet and a couple of these other guys that they ETB and make a creature come back essentially when it dies.
Targets another creature, gives it +1/+1 until end of turn, and then if that creature dies, it comes back in.
That's the one, yeah.
And then
so
you
two
just
of those,
infinitely loop.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do. 2 of those, right? And then the sack outlet, that's an infinite loop. So just insert this guy, there's infinite life. Insert there's a black creature that drains them for 1 when a creature dies. That's infinite draining and your opponent's dead. So you could put that in a standard deck. Like, I don't know how viable the combo thing is, but it still just goes right in. You don't have to splash, another color or do it. You don't have to bend over backwards for it. So I would be surprised if there wasn't a really good sacrifice deck in Standard. I just don't know what it's going to look like. So did you run into anybody playing like a really good version of a sack deck?
Yes, there were a handful of sacrifice decks that actually looked pretty good. So I know a number of us were. I myself tinkered with a little bit of the Orzhov sack deck, and it just plays nicely. Like when you get the Umbral Collar Zealot on 2, the world's kind of your oyster. It's kind of crazy how much of a difference that makes. Another version that I saw a couple of folks running was actually a Rakdos deck that was leveraging weapons manufacturing. This enchantment for 2 that says whenever a non-token artifact you control enters, you create a colorless artifact token named Munitions. And when Munitions leaves the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. So this with the Umbral Collar Zealot and a ton of artifacts. Like just running a bunch of red artifacts. And there are a lot of really low to the ground red artifact creatures in this set as well. And so I definitely did see I went up against a board once that, got me down to, I think, 10, had like 8 or 9 Munitions just sitting there and then dropped the Zealot. And it's like, all right.
And that's it.
Not much I can do about that. It's, it was pretty legit. So weapons manufacturing looks decent. And I don't know, it's one of those where in the early access, in a relatively low interaction environment where we're all just kind of tinkering, those kind of aggro decks really exploded and kind of dominated, if I'm honest. How that's actually going to line up once they go out onto the onto the ladder where there's kind of no expectations for showcasing cards and everyone's just trying to optimize. I don't know, we'll see. But it's interesting.
They're not going to beat that Pinnacle temporary lockdown card that I'm playing in Blue Eye Control. That's for sure.
That thing. Yeah. So, well, we can chat about that as well. Cause the Pinnacle, I think it's Star Cage. I did.
That's okay. But the card I'm really excited about is Consult the Star Charts.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
That card is awesome. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, great. That's fantastic. Consult this. Well, Ham, would you like to do the card, man?
I'd be happy to read it out. Consult the Star Charts. Instant for 1 and a blue with kicker 1 and a blue. Look at the top. X cards in your library where X is the number of lands you control. Put 1 of those cards into your hand. If it was kicked, you put 2 of them into your hand. Instead, put the rest on the bottom of your library. But the type line is really the thing that sells this. It's an instant.
That's so good.
It's so good.
Spot. I mean, the 2 mana draw, like over the last few weeks playing Blue Eye Control, I've seen versions with Deduce. I've seen versions with Dreams of Laguna. I've seen versions. There's Think Twice is legal in Standard. I don't think I've seen anybody play it, but there's a bunch of 2 mana instant speed draw spells. And it's like, what do I want to play here? Like Deduce is okay, but then sometimes you have to sweep away your own clue token if you need to sweep it and you're looking for a temporary lockdown or that new one, same thing. It's going to eat your clue token. Dreams of Laguna's better. It digs deeper, right? It surveils, then draws, but it's 6 mana to get both sides where Deduce is just 2 and 2. So you always had this, like, none of them were perfect, right? Then this card, when this card got spoiled, I'm just like, oh my God, this is like, obviously, the 2 mana part is just fine. It's not incredible. But later on, I mean, when you kick this and you have 7 or 8 lands in play and you get to dig through time, like you're looking at the top 7 or 8 cards and taking 2, that's bananas. That's Memory Deluge Flashback. It's wild. So I hope.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I have high hopes. I just don't know if Blue Eye Control is going to be viable, but this is a great addition to that deck. I'm looking forward to checking out.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the control decks are just going to be just on point. Yeah, it does look fantastic. All right. Yeah, this was definitely on my list as well. And then the Pinnacle Starcade is the one we were talking about. Also, I know on the video feed,
that is going to be great as well.
Frozen just.
I mean, losing. I was just going to say that. Yeah, I was going to mention it. Pinnacle Starcade is obviously a huge relief to see in this set. I mean, we talked. I think you guys talked about it during spoiler season, but a lot of players were wondering what is going to replace temporary lockdown when it rotates. And when this set releases.
Yeah.
And the aggro's a menace. We just saw a bunch of red cards get banned. We know that, how good aggro it is in standard right now. So, and even despite the bannings, it's still very good. The aggro's a real, pillar of the standard metagame still. So having a replacement for it, that temp lock is great. So this is obviously going to be another addition to the control decks for sure.
Yeah, as somebody who's been playing a lot of Insidious Roots, I like this version a lot better than Temporary Lockdown.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like the fact that this actually leaves enchantments alone is what I love. I think that is perfectly balanced. Like Temp Lockdown to me was kind of pushed, like just hitting everything. But
it was very good. Yeah,
it was. But like this leaves enchantments alone. Roots can survive. Dredger's Insight can survive. I'm happy.
You're right.
Very happy.
So I really dig that because if you're playing Roots, which although to be fair, Insidious Roots is going to be losing Tyvar with rotation, so I think that deck is going to be in a significantly worse spot. I mean, I've been trying to tinker with a rotation proof version, although there are a couple of cards in Edge that I think will help. But yeah, it's a little rough. There is one card though. And I'm sorry, Astros, did you have more on that topic with Pinnacle Starcade before I
No, I'm happy to lose enchantments alone.
Yes, I'm with you on that. All right. There is one card that my Golgari graveyard loving heart is just so enamored with. I cannot begin to express the joy and Wizards, you made this one for me. And I see you and I want to say thank you. Ice Till Explorer. I played with this thing a little bit. Holy cow. I knew this was going to be good. It was better than I expected. So I still explore in standard.
Wow.
Well, okay, I'm also playing dumpy ramp decks often. So like in early access standard, it played well. Is it actually going to line up in any of the actual meta decks? I don't know, but playing the Smuggler Surprise decks, you better believe I'm going to try. So it's a 2/4 for 4 Insect Scout. This is one of those insects you're talking about. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, which that's a big deal, and you may play lands from your graveyard, which is also a big deal if you have, fetch lands like Fabled Passage in your decks, being able to loop those and just keep it moving. Additionally, it has landfall whenever a land you control enters, mill a card. So if you have a high amount of lands in your deck and you're trying to fill your graveyard, so in an Insidious Roots kind of shell, I did see a lot of cool interaction happening there. Where if you're doing any other self mill, chances are a land is at your graveyard at some point. So the moment you play this, even if you don't have a land in your hand, you're not missing your land drops. And if you mill another land, it's as good as drawing it in that situation. So it plays. Like, I knew I was going to love it, but I thought I was going to have to hard sell other folks on it. It actually genuinely played better than I expected. If you have any kind of 2-mana ramp, being able to drop this on 3 and then hit 2 land drops, like, you kind of, it feels like $1 million. I've done that. Yeah, I did that a couple of times where I would drop a, get the Llanowar Elf going or, glimpse the core, whatever you need to do to get one additional one.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how quickly it can ramp up. It's I enjoyed this card very much. Yeah,
I want to play a bunch of destruction or something with this card, like like looping demo fields or looping. Like they put Strip Mine on Arena now with Edge of Eternities because it's in the special guest spot. So I know timeless players are like, ooh, when they see this card, they're just like, I'm gonna blow up all your land.
We're losing demo field though.
No, we're not. It was in Foundations. It was it was originally in Brothers War, so we were gonna lose it, but they put it in Foundations, so we get to keep it around.
Okay, good.
But yeah,
on that insect though, like it just it makes me kind of curious, like because when you think about how when the land comes in, we're milling, it also pairs really well with the the sieges that we had in Dragonstorm. I had to think about this. But there's the one where you can choose Sultai, wherever when a land comes in, you mill yourself as well. So I'm kind of curious, right? Because they're building sets for 3 years out. I wonder if we're going to see some kind of new Golgari self-mill strategy, maybe with Sin coming in, or maybe there's some other win condition we've just not identified yet in the next few sets that come out. But there's a lot of self-mill, which makes me think there's got to be a big payoff.
Well, and we still have Lumra, Aftermath Analyst, Vine Lasher, that whole package. New Tanook is a Spitfire Lagak style effect. There's another card that I played a little bit of that I don't think is good, but man, it's fun. The Glacier Godmaw. It's a 6/6 for 7 with trample, and when it enters, you make a lander token, but it has landfall whenever a land you control enters. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance and haste. And so during the early access, I did Smuggler Surprise once in a deck with Ice Till. I used Smuggler Surprise, dropped this and Lumra together. That was great. Brought like 5 things out. All my things got 5/5 and haste. Yeah, even my little 2/2 Edge Rovers that were just off to the side were all of a sudden 7/7s or whatever. And yeah, it was great.
Crater Hoof at home. Crater Hoof at home is fine.
Yeah, a little DIY landfall Crater Hoof. Yeah, that was
I played it in limited. Limited, it was excellent as well. I just you play the land for the turn, and if you have up 9 or 10 mana, which you often do in that game, you activate the lander token that this thing creates, and you get a double pump, and that's usually enough to end the game right there. But that's a spicy one. But
I love this thing.
Yeah,
Glacier Godmaw is one of my and again, also a Leviathan. They're clearly giving us a Leviathan support.
Leviathan tribal, anybody?
I'm down. Let's go.
Simic Leviathan tribal.
I think it's doable.
Anyway, the guy bringing the lands back is cool. You touched on, you had Strip Mine up on the screen there, which is a big addition. I most standard players won't care about this, but
no,
Strip Mine wasn't on Arena before. This is one of the most iconic cards in Magic. It's been around for a long time. It's the epitome of land destruction. Just totally free, play my land, and with a guy like that, where you could play 2 a turn, you can double Strip Mine every turn out of the graveyard. Like that's insane.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
I guess you can only do it in Timeless, though, right? This won't be legal in Historic. Or I don't know what's legal in Historic anymore.
Definitely Timeless. I'm not sure about Historic, but I will say this is actually a really welcome thing that I think that Timeless needs, because that format, speaking from a Legacy perspective, Legacy has a lot of checks and balances between land destruction, force of will, other really efficient answerings. There is just no consistent, easy way to answer stuff, and especially with show and tell. So bringing in Strip Mine helps to set that. So I'm happy this is brought in finally. I think this will help curve the Timeless format even just a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't played much Timeless, but I've heard other people say they're excited about Strip Mine. So cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I gotta say I am slightly. I'm very selfishly butthurt that they brought in Strip Mine and then let me preview Dust Bowl, because it's
that's your preview card?
this is my preview card this set. Which, thank you for the preview card.
I love
It was really cool. Dust Bowl's a classic, but it is fun, and I do enjoy it, and I think it is still decent and whatnot. But when you compare it to Strip Mine, it's
I played Dust Bowl at all my Commander decks. That's why nobody invites me to play Commander.
Don't worry, I play Wasteland, Damien.
Anyway,
we're in the same pod. Don't worry.
You do great. I play Sunder in my blue decks. People do not like. Yes, a man after my own heart.
Exactly.
The point is
why
to
we
make
get
people.
along.
Yes, exactly. I'm having fun when everybody else is not having fun.
Actually,
exactly.
It's funny. I did get my hands on one copy of Dust Bowl, and I did put it in one of my. I added a lot of graveyard land stuff to one of my decks, and I put Dust Bowl and Lotus Field and all that stuff. It's gonna be a whole thing. So I'm gonna be that guy. Yep. I'm gonna. All
right. Any other standard
land destruction? Yeah.
There's a lot of joy to be had there, guaranteed.
Oh my goodness.
What other standard decks did you see that you thought were good? We talked about white, low to the ground white aggro. We talked about the sack deck. We talked about a little bit about control.
I think
you were talking about ramping.
Yeah, control and all that jazz is going to be good. Honestly, they're one mono black is it's not back. It's just still here because people are going to continue to play it because it's just one of the whenever it's viable. But the interesting thing, because the black color identity includes so much, mono black changes as from exactly what it is. Like mono red is always aggro, right? Always. There's no. You see people trying to do big red mono control or mono red control. It's just it's more cute than good. It's never going to be the meta archetype. But I think mono black could shift from a mid-range, because right now the demon package, I would qualify that as kind of a mid-range deck.
Yes,
running lots of removal
100%.
with like 3-5 drop threats, those kind of things. With cards like Timeline Color and the Umbral Collar Zelda that we mentioned earlier, I think the amount of really low to the ground, like fast black threats that are in this set could change the tenor of that deck pretty dramatically. Not to mention we still have Cecil as well from Final Fantasy. So
yeah, Cecil's the 1-drop. They've also got a 2-drop 4/1 Menace with Ward discard a card, which is really obnoxious. That Ward discard a card is so annoying. Like we all remember Graveyard Trespasser and stuff like that. Like the only downside, of course, when it attacks, it's got to give a counter to your opponent. But you're playing mono black, like none of their creatures should last more than a turn, right? You're going to kill everything.
And the thing has Menace, so it's probably not buffing a meaningful blocker. Yeah, it's pretty silly.
Right.
But Timeline Color, this one was. I played this a couple of times in like sacrifice decks as well as just low to the ground fast aggro decks. This thing's amazing. It's a 2/2 for 2 with haste. And it has warp for 1 and pay 2 life. And you may cast this card from your graveyard using its warp ability. But you can also cast it from your hand for its warp ability. So like
its warp ability, yep.
Yeah. So
it's
you
a 1-drop or a 2-drop.
So it can curve you out on 1 and 2 if you don't have any other options. And if they kill it, it just comes back. It's kind of nuts. So it's just very efficient and it just produces a lot of punishment quickly. I found.
I played a lot of them in limited, and they were great. Remember, when you warp, the next time you cast it, you're not paying the 2 life. Like for some reason in my head, I'm like, oh, you pay 2 life every time you cast it after the first time. But no, you just pay once, and then it goes to exile or warp land or wherever, and then from there it's no life. So Tenacious Underdog vibes.
You were thinking that of paying life because of Tenacious Underdog, which is the previous version of something like this, where once it's in your graveyard, you can blitz it out, and when you're done blitzing, it goes back to the graveyard. So you could then recast it from your graveyard, but you have to pay the life again. It is similar to T-Dog, but it's really funny looking at Tenacious Underdog afterwards, because Tenacious Underdog is a 3/2 with 2 that doesn't have haste, but its blitz gives it haste, but it blitzes for 4 and 2 life. And this was like the gold standard for like repeatable aggression in its day.
It's a lot of play.
And I feel like color is just significantly better. I mean, granted, you're not drawing cards off it because with blitz, when the blitz creature leaves the field, you draw. So I get that they're not full 1-to-1, like they are different in how they're operating, but even so, it reminded me of that quite a bit. Yeah.
Right.
So
I think it's good. Yeah, I think mono black aggro could be a thing. You never know.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's got a lot of tools. Yeah.
Well, not even just with like mono black aggro, but like think about this. We have the 2-mana 3/2 sack a creature surveil. You pair that with Sephiroth on curve. This is just a continual way to bring a card back, trigger Sephiroth, set up surveil, get more of these in the graveyard, and then you can run this with Bloodghast. Have that, like, you've got a Bloodghast warp package of continual creatures that can now come back and be sacked for free.
I forgot. And that's legal in standard.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and that's a 3-mana curve. Like that's a mono black sack deck and they all have haste because it's your opponent's gonna be drained enough that Bloodghast have haste.
Yeah, spicy.
So wow, so mono. Yeah, so here we're talking about like Rakdos sacrifice or Orzhov sacrifice. Just I don't know, just cut out the noise and just make it mono black.
And again, the combo is still there too. If you want to run the infinite loop with the sack guy, it's all contained in one color, so you could go for that if you want.
Oh,
yeah, silly.
Wow.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what standard's going to be like. I think it's going to be awesome. Rotations are always a fun time. I know we have standard RCQ season starting shortly after the new set comes out, so that's great. We'll get some real serious data from big tournaments and stuff. I know Nerd Rage Gaming and all these other places are going to start doing their 5Ks and things like that, in addition to online challenges, RCQs. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out. I know the last few weeks of standard I've been kind of avoiding on Arena when I'm streaming. I've been playing nothing but Chromatic Cube the last week, and before that just like different stuff. I don't know. it's limbo for me. The Magic. I know everybody's been loving it because nobody's really, the competitive crowd is not focused on it and people are just having fun.
It's the Wild West for sure at the moment, which
Yeah.
I enjoy that aspect of it. But it is tough because when you're putting in work to try to perfect a deck, it's like, well, if you get to a point where it's good, I mean, how long do you have it? And it's the ultimate lame duck format,
And on Arena, it's okay. But I mean, if you look at the actual Magic Online results, I know Frank Karsten just wrote an article about the state of the meta game as it is. He basically said, all we have to go on is these online challenges. And according to them, Dimir mid-range, a deck that hasn't picked up a new card in 8 months. And Is It Cauldron make up over 40% of the metagame, those two decks. So I really hope that that it doesn't look like that after rotation. But we'll see. I think it won't. I have faith. I'm optimistic about Standard right now. So a good time to get in as well. If you're thinking about jumping into Standard, rotation's always the best time to get in. Don't go crafting a bunch of cards on Arena that are about to rotate. You can just save your wild cards, let the thing rotate, and then pick a deck in the first few weeks of the new format, and that deck will probably be good for quite a while. Maybe not the top of the metagame, but at least it'll be viable and you won't have to, craft new stuff a few months down the road or whatever. So,
yeah. No, absolutely.
So any final thoughts on Standard? I wanted to mention one more thing. I don't know. We could mention the Spider-Man. Excuse me, hold on.
The spider.
The spider.
I did want to talk about that. I did. I absolutely want to.
The bile is coming up. I'm sorry. I'm having some. The Spider-Man. Spider-Man spoilers.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like Edge of Eternities isn't even released. We haven't even entered the new standard, and the spoilers started. And it's just like
I know. And they are something. Oh boy.
Well,
I don't know if people have been looking at this set, but
I gotta be honest, I've spent very little time actually looking through the set. And I know Peter Porker is a thing, which, okay, cool. But the thing that bothers me about this is not just that, I mean, product fatigue is what it is. Like it's happening. And I am torn. There are a lot of conflicting feelings because on the one hand, like complaining about getting too many toys to play with them all to my satisfaction is a weird complaint. Like, yeah, these are all new things that make, that I'm going to bring, that will bring me joy. I know this. But if we don't have time to enjoy the ones we get, why should we be excited about the next ones when we're not going to have time to enjoy those? And the timing on this specifically, I found incredibly irksome because they dropped like 80 cards, like spoiled, literally the day of early access. So we're as streamers, we're engaging in a marketing engagement to promote Edge of Eternities. They have given us access and are showing off all these new cards, and they're trying to drum up excitement to get people to go out to the pre-release the following weekend or buy the pre-orders on Arena, and on the exact same day sent out a message basically saying, but hey guys, you might want to save up for Spider-Man, which
I don't know. That I can't.
Insane,
who the hell knows?
I mean, just wait a week. Just wait a week. Let people go to the pre-releases, buy into buy whatever boxes they're gonna get, and then start doing Spider-Man. It seems silly to me. The timing on that, I don't think could have been worse, honestly.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
It's terrible. Like it's part of it's in consequence because now we're on a new set every 2 months. So it's like, okay, new set's coming out. Got to announce the next one. And then we get maybe, I'm going to be generous. I'll say 6 weeks of a standard format before, okay, now we have to start considering early access, brewing, and then rotation. And then suddenly next set's out. Like it's just
You're
6
right.
weeks is not enough to do anything with a new set. I'm like, it is not.
Yeah, that's one. I do a 24-hour stream every single time there's a new set, so it's literally going to kill me if they keep increasing the pace at which they release new sets. But the cards themselves are so. Like there's so many things I could say. It feels like a bizarre set. And then I'm looking at Blogatog, Mark Rosewater talking about Kapow. We've got a card called Guy Sitting at a Desk or whatever. Guy at a Desk. There's a green creature called Guy at a Desk. I'm not joking. The basic lands, they released the basic lands. They look like just random pics from American cities. It doesn't look like land. It doesn't look like, they just have Spider-Man like copy and pasted into each one of them. Guy in the chair. That's what he's called. Yeah.
Guy in the
And on
chair.
top of that,
Yeah.
the card sucks, which is the other thing I find. Anyway, that's whatever.
Anyway,
But yeah.
Hey, the silver lining here, we won't have to see any of these because on Arena they will be completely different. So Mark Rosewater also mentioned that, everybody kind of suspected this was a small set. This was like going to be Assassin's Creed. This was planned to be something like that. It's 80 cards less than every other standard set that's come out this year. It's a much smaller set than all the other ones released this year. Not only that, Mark Rosewater just said this week that this set was designed to not be drafted with 8 players, which is like, wait, what? And everybody said, what do you, what? And he said it was actually designed to be drafted with 4 players doing 2 picks. The new format that is coming to Arena that they're implementing. It's this Spider-Man set. It was actually meant to be drafted in that way. 4 players, 2 picks each every time you pick, right? It's this new format. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but they announced that this is coming to Arena only. And we can talk about the implications of that and everything else another time.
Yeah,
but the fact that this set isn't designed to be drafted with 8 players, like, has me kind of wondering, and a lot of other limited players going, well, like, does that mean it's not gonna be a great draft experience? Because that's what it sounds like. Wait, you're saying you didn't design it to even be drafted with 8 players? Like, is there design differences between 4 and 8? Like, what did they do? Did they make So it's going to be so bizarre for so many reasons, and the fact that these spoilers are already coming out is wild. I mentioned the basic lands. You popped one of them up on the screen there. I don't know if you want to talk about them, but
yeah, we can. Well, so on the one hand, so there's the kind of standard basic lands, which also for all you video gamers out there, I brought the basic swamp up, and I just want to point out really big puddle, big good looking puddle. Anyway, that's neat. Puddlegate was a whole thing last year, and anyway, regardless.
That went over my head.
The Spider-Man 2 video game, the trailer had really big puddles, and the final build of the game didn't. And a bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's graphics downgrade." It's like ended up being a whole bunch of smoke for pretty much nothing, from what I understand. But whatever.
Yeah, the screen space reflections look great on that basic swamp.
They sure do, man. Yeah, I gotta say the fidelity's excellent, very impressive. But there's also the showcase lands that they showed off, which are the mana symbols in a spider web. Which, to be honest, if the big spoiler drop that ultimately just kind of like pulled the wind from Edge's sails had just been these, just a little like, by the way, guys, don't forget Spider-Man's coming. That would have been just a little bit of a teaser. Okay, cool. Sure, that's cute. It's fun, and a bunch of people could just go, "Oh, neat," and then move on and keep looking at Edge of Eternities instead of, like. Commander players, I feel for Commander players out there who want to build something with every new set, which I know I do. I do, but like by the time you get your hands on the specific individual commanders that you want to build, and then get all the cards for them, you're 3 sets down the road, and so if somebody now wanted to play, I don't know, it's the hype cycle
too much. I know, and not to mention the commander decks, every set that come out, a cycle of commander decks and everything else. You just can't have it all, right? You're basically gonna have to pick and choose your IPs. Oh, you're a Final Fantasy fan? Okay, you're gonna go all out when that set comes out. You're not a Final Fantasy fan, you're gonna skip all of it. You're not a Spider-Man fan, you're gonna skip all that. So anyway, so Spider-Man's coming. We know it's coming, and so far people have been very vocal about. I hear mostly negative stuff. I don't know about your communities, but a lot of the people in my community do not like any of what they're seeing with Spider-Man. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys hear on the streets?
It's hit or miss. I think like mechanically set wise, it's a lot of just weird mechanics in a set that none seem to be really synergistic of anything. It's all really spread out. Art-wise, some really like the art style, especially the comic book art, because they're much like the old school Spider-Man from the 90s, the 80s, the comics coming out. It's kind of reminiscent of that. They appreciate the nostalgia of it. That part is cool, but mechanically, design-wise, it's not anything.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, I'm
not been impressed.
Yeah.
The one thing I thought that the only thing I've seen that I think is actually really cool is the sagas. Have you seen the way they did the sagas with each one is like a different panel on like a comic book page? I think they only released they released the Spider-Man one where he took the step one
Oh.
you make a spider token. Yeah, this thing looks awesome.
Origin of
Like
Spider-Man.
I know
That is slick.
This is
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You guys can't see this who are listening in audio form, but go look up the saga. Well, Origin of Spider-Man, I think it's the only one they spoiled like this, but there's these special treatments where that looks awesome. And I love the design. And it's got each chapter kind of listed as a text bubble.
So it's basically showing these like vertical panels like comic books, and the way that they do narration in comics often where they'll have like a little block of text that's kind of like a speech bubble, but it's kind of stands alone. And it has that with like that old school font too. It's like exactly it just looks exactly like a comic page with 3 panels, and it breaks down each chapter as its own individual panel. Very cool.
Yeah,
and it
I think
it
they
shows
lend themselves well to that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny too, because like in the Origin of Spider-Man, you can see like Spider-Man's head in chapter 3 kind of breaking the frame a little bit, the way that they do in comic books. Like that's clever. I think that these are well done for sure.
Yeah, those are cool. Everything else, I'm not crazy about any of it. And then again, we haven't seen anything for Arena. Like none of this is going to be on Arena. So we'll see what happens there. But
well, and if the mechanical identity of the set is going to be the weakest part, and all of that is going to be on Arena, but none of the fun aesthetics.
Oh, right. That's even worse. Yeah, so I didn't think about that.
We'll see how it plays out, but we'll see.
I want to say one more thing. This is not about Spider-Man, but it has to do with upcoming sets. I have heard. This is pure rumor, pure conjecture. I don't even know who started or why it started. I mean, I think it started because it makes sense. But with the release of Edge of Eternities and this spaceship mechanic, or the spaceship card type with this station mechanic and all that, rumors have started to spread that next year they're going to announce at the end of this year the set's coming out next year, and one of them is going to be Star Trek. Have you guys heard about this? No, Star Trek is rumored to be one of the sets coming out next year. Now, I don't think there's any factual. I don't think anybody at WotC's said anything. There's nothing on the record about this, but people have heard somebody say something about, or they're like dissecting Maro's posts, kind of like trying to conspiracy theory up some theory about Star Trek coming out. But it makes sense. People are like, yeah, this Edge of Eternities. It's essentially a trial run for what is almost inevitably going to be a space set that's based on a universes beyond IP, right? Star Wars has their own TCG, so that probably is not going to happen. But you've got Star Trek, you've got people were mentioning other
Lost in Space could be one, right?
Dune could be one. Yeah, like you could see
Dune
a bunch.
Could be one. Yeah.
So people are saying Star Trek's the most likely. It's just got, I think, the biggest bank of material to work with. Like it's just it was on for and you could pull from. I don't even know how many different Star Treks there are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the Next Generation was like 13 seasons or something, right? So
something
I don't even know. But anyway, that's what I heard. You guys haven't.
I haven't.
No?
I've heard a lot of man, wouldn't it be cool ifs, but I haven't heard any like credible rumors about that. And I think a lot of people are just kind of assuming that we have mounts, we have spacecraft, like we have the mechanical identity for all of these different tropes that are present in a ton of different properties. So the doors are wide open for what they can bring in, and they're making the game more compatible with more IPs, and I think that's
true.
So whether or not it's specifically Star Trek, I don't know. But if 2026 comes and goes and we don't have some kind of space themed universes beyond, I'll be shocked. Yeah,
I would be shocked.
Yeah, like they're clearly laying the groundwork for it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know when they announce those things. I think it's soon. It's in the fall. They talk about the next sets, and then they'll say like this set, this set, this set, and then two weird code name sets that they're not going to tell us.
MagicCon usually, right? It'll be MC Atlanta. I think.
Maybe
we should have that panel.
Right.
Potentially.
When is that? That's November.
That's September. End of September.
Yep. September.
26th to the 28th.
Yep.
Because I feel like it's usually toward the end of the year. That's when that last year they announced it, and I think the year before. But
because
we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, because I think the last time it was at the not this year's Vegas, but last year's Vegas, because last year's Vegas was in September, October timeframe, which lined up with the big announcement schedule of what was coming for this year, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see.
we
That's all I
will.
wanted to say. Just rumors. I'm bringing in the totally off the wall conspiracy theory rumors,
Yeah,
but
it's
who
interesting.
knows if they'll pan out.
I'm also curious, what do you guys think? So, of the 3 Universes Beyond properties that they have this year, I think it's 3 beloved franchises. Which do you, when the dust settles, which do you think is going to be the biggest, or the most successful? So we have Final Fantasy, which we've seen was already an absolute banger. Spider-Man, which, holy cow, Spider-Man fans are absolutely everywhere. And then Avatar: The Last Airbender, which also has a beloved franchise that has a big fan base as well. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Easiest question in the world,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna answer last. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Final Fantasy. I think hands down, it's just Final Fantasy. It's the longest
That's
IP.
what I was gonna say.
It's the
You
most
think?
diverse fan base.
Huh.
I think it's gonna be it.
I think,
Dude, did you hear what Chris Cox said about the sales of Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
Did you hear this?
what was
it's
the exact,
insane.
I know the pre-orders
Go
that
ahead,
it was apparently
Astrals.
the best-selling set, like the day pre-sales
Oh yeah,
opened up.
before
Yeah.
it even dropped.
Mhm.
But there's even a bigger announcement that they just released. I think
What's
2
that?
days ago, Damien, right? You're talking about that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So it was the total 1-day sales of Final Fantasy were like $2 million.
200
$200 million.
million.
$100 million.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said it took 6 months of Lord of the Rings sales to hit 200 million. Final Fantasy hit it in 1 day. That's the day it released. Not
Wait,
counting
what?
all the pre-release or all the pre-orders and all that. Oh yeah, in 1 day it sold
Wow.
200 million. And Lord of the Rings took 6 months to hit that. That was the second highest selling set, was Lord of the Rings, up to that point, right? That was the best selling set of all time, they said. And it took 6 months to hit 200 mil. 1 day. They said they had 4 print runs. They went back and started another print run 4 times to try and meet pre-order demand. And they stopped the print runs with the demand still through the roof, he said.
Wow.
They could have kept going. And they just were like, we can't keep printing this. We have other sets coming out.
We're gonna have to like pull out we're gonna have to push back our other products if we keep printing these. Yeah.
Now,
wow.
is Spider-Man going to be that big?
But could Spider-Man
I don't think so.
hit it?
I don't know.
I feel like the collector. I feel like the collector market on Spider-Man, which obviously was also there for Final Fantasy. So even people who have no interest in Magic will still buy this, which I know was the case for Final Fantasy, as well. So I feel like if anything could rival that, I feel like Spider-Man might be. I feel like Marvel is a powerful enough IP that there's a chance.
Yeah, well,
now I think Avatar is going to get absolutely smoked. I think comparatively.
Yeah, I think Avatar's third.
I think it will be beloved by the fans, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the same commercial viability as these two.
Yeah, and I think there's less overlap between comic book fans and fantasy card game fans than there is between fantasy video game players and fantasy card game fans. Like Final Fantasy already had its own TCG, right? Like they already had they still have it. I don't even know if it's still going.
I believe it's still.
Spider-Man. Like, superheroes have never dabbled with that. Marvel Snap was the first game to kind of ever come out that did that kind of thing with superheroes, right? Oh, wait. No, maybe there was another one.
No,
there was other ones. Okay.
Back
maybe
in the
I'm wrong.
90s, I remember the
one.
very first card game that I ever played was Marvel Overpower, which came out in 95.
I remember that game.
That was the
remember
thing.
that. My brother bought cards of that game.
My brother had a couple
That's
of,
right.
he brought a couple of decks home and proceeded to pound me repeatedly in that game. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I need to.
Well, I still maintain that, and I mean maybe it failed as well, because again, I just don't think there's enough. Yeah, enough comic book fans to kind of that are into that. I'm not sure. I think the fantasy aspect and stuff overlaps. Yeah, Overpower. I remember that. It was bad.
It was pretty rough.
I remember it being really bad. Anyway, but it had comic book characters, and you loved it, and we loved comic books as a kid. So
collector market, collector value for it. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
we'll see. I think nothing's going to touch Final Fantasy. Not until the Avengers set or something. Yeah, it's going to take some other massive IP. I don't think Spider-Man's going to do it. Maybe the Avengers. They said that's coming, right? I think X-Men would be an awesome set too, but yeah.
X-Men would be pretty cool. I actually think like if we went into like an X-Men Universes Beyond, that would be
that would be cool,
mechanically
actually, yeah.
unique set with how different the mutations could be.
Right.
Because you could still flavor certain mutations as like a specific keyword. Like there are a lot of telekinetic mutants, right? So that that's a keyword that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
that could be. I could be down for that.
I could actually see that. Now, I think that might be by bias talking. I love X-Men. That was probably my favorite comic when I was younger. But
yeah.
Oh yeah, they did do some.
They did a secret layer.
Yeah,
they did a
secret
layer
layer
that included a lot of the X-Men. So they've introduced some of that, but at the same time, like there's no reason they couldn't, reintroduce these cards or give us new ones. Like there's nothing stopping them from doing that. Yeah.
We'll see if it dethrones FF, but man, like when they talk about the money that set made, it just makes you go, they're gonna double down. They're gonna triple down on this. It's not gonna go less. It's gonna if they can pump out 8 sets a year of this, like even if they miss on half of them and one of them is as big as Final Fantasy, that already more than like it's
it
covers it.
Like terrible news to all the Universe Beyond haters out there, like because there's no way this is going away. Not even
I know.
Yeah,
but like the opposite coin of that. I mean, think about how many new players are now into playing Magic and Arena because of Final Fantasy.
And that's real.
In the last, it is. I can't think in the last 2 months how I've seen more people engaged in Magic content being like, Final Fantasy got me into this. I'm so invested. Like I think some of the Magic stuff is cool. Final Fantasy drew me in, and now I want to make the standard deck that has like the stuff with these dragons and this Final Fantasy. I want to play like HUD. I'm like, you're speaking my language. I'm happy for this. Like, do it. Like, this is a great time to be a Magic creator.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
For sure, creator.
Yeah. Streaming on Twitch right now. In the last 2 months, I've had more new names that I've never seen pop up before saying I am getting into this in ways that I haven't since like Arena first dropped. 5 years ago, we had people like just kind of experimenting with it for the first time, and this is the first time I've seen any kind of influx, just anecdotally, that it feels kind of like.
Oh, you're right,
and that's exciting. Yeah.
I think it's exciting if you're a casual player and if you're, most of these players are going to be casual, and this is the difference between saying, oh, Magic's got all these players coming in. I don't think I'm going to go. I might go to a tournament and see a bunch of new players for the first big tournament after Final Fantasy drops, but those players are going to learn very quickly that competitive Magic doesn't care about your Universes Beyond flavor and all that stuff. Nobody's playing Final Fantasy decks. A lot of people would get into the game thinking, oh, I'm going to build it, like you said, a standard Final Fantasy deck or a standard Spider-Man deck or whatever. And they're going to take it to their local game store and get trounced by, a Cauldron deck, or I don't know, after rotation, some Dimir mid-range pile that has no new cards from any of the last few sets. And they're going to go, what? But I thought Final Fantasy was the latest set. And why isn't everybody playing with this?
You have pirates and ninjas. What is this? There's like flavor fail, guys. What are we doing?
Remember, a 5 or a 3-year rotation, but we have such a massive card pool in Standard now that it's only getting more and more competitive. Like the Standard decks are getting so powerful. They just banned 7 cards from Standard. That was the highest banning in 20 years, right? So
Mirrodin was the last time that there was more bannings.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's crazy that, all these new sets are coming out, but people who are getting into it for those sets, they better stick to Commander, because if they start trying to play like competitive Magic with that stuff, they're going to very quickly learn that like you can't play a deck based on a set. That's not how competitive Magic works, especially with a card pool this large. Like your pet cards aren't going to be good enough, and that's how Magic is. Like even in Final Fantasy, how many Final Fantasy cards are seen playing Standard? I can count them on one hand.
It's like 5 or 6.
Get to 5.
Well, like Cecil.
In all honesty, though.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cecil, VV, some of the summons.
VV.
Well,
Yuna. But like that's good though. Like I actually see that as a good thing. If it's a new player who's got like a $50-$60 deck that they're taking to the tournament, and then they're seeing like, I've got this casual deck, this is what competitive's like. And a lot of people, that's gonna incentivize them to want to get more in. How can I make a better deck? Yes.
That's what I'm hoping.
If the experience is good. And I think at the LGS level, if the LGS runs the tournament right, and it's which I'd say 80 to 90% do. That's a good way to bring that player back to want to, hey, what can I do to improve? How can I make this deck better? And then we've got a hook for life, and then suddenly we're solving all the world disputes with Magic the Gathering duels, and then it's world paradise finally.
Yeah.
Oh, well, all of us,
Go ahead,
and I
Em.
have a feeling all of you out there listening understand Magic is good enough that if you're kind of predisposed to be into this, all it takes is a taste for you to stick to it, you know?
Well, yeah, and my concern is just that, like, again, a lot of the people who never touched Magic for the last 30 years that it existed, who are now caring suddenly because their other IP that they're into is suddenly in Magic, those are not the kind of players who are going to go, oh, so I love this game. I want to get competitive. You're saying I have to invest in a bunch of other stuff that's from sets that I don't really love. Like, I'm worried that there aren't going to be that many players doing that. Most players are just going to go, oh, well, where can I play my Final Fantasy stuff? Well, there's Commander. Oh, okay, I'm going to play that, or I'm going to play a format where I can build whatever I want, and there's these artificial ways to kind of balance, so we're all kind of equal in power, and it's not the same as Standard. I'm just worried. That's my worry. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I want to be optimistic, but I don't think it's going to bring a lot of people into the competitive scene. I don't know.
I think it'll probably bring some, but I mean, you're probably right. I mean, at the end of the day, right now, for a lot of people, Commander and Magic are synonymous. A lot of people don't even realize. Like, I think they are vaguely aware of the competitive scene, but like, it's not really just part of the deal at all. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying when people say
are eating good, but yeah.
Yeah, like bringing all these people into the game, sure, that is great, and it's absolutely true. It is happening. You guys are absolutely right about everything you said. It's bringing so many new players in the game, and that's fantastic. I mean, I love Magic. I don't want it to go away, so it makes $200 million in one day. Sure. I mean, if that they're never going to stop printing Magic cards at this point.
Oh my goodness.
Most of the players coming in are going to be casual players. Like you said, Commander's going to explode because of Universes Beyond.
Yep.
So I don't know, like, as a competitive player, is that good or bad for us? I think at some point, I don't know, competitive's going to die off. Like, I don't know.
I don't think competitive's ever, as long as the Pro Tour is still a focus, they're still investing in it, there's still decent prize support, like there's still a level of prestige associated with that, and I honestly think Magic has always been, I mean, I remember years ago hearing interviews where the designers of the game were saying that the most popular way to play is with cards I own with my buddies, but we just don't have data on it, and and I don't doubt that for a second. Like the vast majority of games are just happening randomly at people's kitchen tables or on living room floors, like those are the games, and those are the games that I remember. Like when I think back to my nostalgic times, it was just playing whatever goofy like legacy legal nonsense with my buddies. Like it was, that was always what it was. And so Commander kind of embodies that mentality and tries to kind of codify it into one format to kind of give everybody a standardized way to play in Community, which is cool. I gotta be honest, I kind of miss 60 card 4 of multiplayer matches. Those were fun back in the day, and we don't have anything quite like that anymore, right? Regardless, so that just has become Commander, but we now have more visibility into the casual side than we ever have before. I don't think it's proportionately larger than it used to be. There's content for it, and they're on social media, so we see them, and the casual team, the casual crews are finding each other, instead of just being in school libraries and, at buddies' place, at friends' houses. So I think it's, that community has become global in a way that it wasn't before. But I have a sneaking suspicion that it's the same proportion of players as it's always been, or similar. So, and you have folks like me, right? Like I've never really been a competitive player, but in participating with this podcast and watching coverage and talking and grinding on Arena, I'm interested in it now. So I think a lot of people, if 0.01% of the people who got brought in from Final Fantasy decide to sign up for an F&M sometime and try it, it's gonna grow the game, right? And it's better than zero.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. It's for the best. But you're right. Yeah. I think the vast majority of folks are gonna just build their one Commander deck and bust it out every 2 or 3 months, and that'll be that. And that's okay too, I think.
That's okay. But it
sounds like you would like to see more energy and more involvement in the competitive scene. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah. Like I'm just worried again. We're talking a soulless corporation who makes this game. At some point, they're going to look at that data and go, again, give it a couple of years of Universes Beyond sets, and the casual players proportionally to the competitive players is not going to be the same. It's going to be bigger and bigger gulf between them. And at some point, they're going to look and say, why are we even bothering with this anymore? All people do is complain about our formats and how they're unbalanced, and they want bannings and they want this. You can, and they're right. You cannot make competitive players happy. You can't. It's impossible. They'll ban a bunch of stuff. People complain about the next best deck, and like the Wizards doesn't know what they're doing. They make it a shorter, rotation cycle. People complain. They make it a longer one. They complain. They change the It's impossible. So at some point they might just say, we're making $1 bajillion, but this Universes Beyond stuff. Let's just make this game, command or like focus on the casual, and that's it.
Yeah.
Again, I hope it doesn't happen. At this point, it would be unthinkable, and you're right, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But to me, it's pretty clear that the game, the direction it's headed, it's been like this for a while. I mean, competitive, the Pro Tour still exists, but it's less and less and less. They don't give away as much prize, or they don't. They stopped paying for airfare and hotel. The gravy train that pros were on before with the silver and gold and platinum ranked pros and getting comped and getting buys and all these other things. All of that is gone. I went to MagicCon Vegas with you guys. I got to meet you finally. Back in 2023. Which was that was a long time ago. And it didn't feel like a pro tour at all to me. Like it was very much like a casual GP almost, like with the artist booths and the cosplaying. And that was the majority of it. There was a big tournament happening at the same time, competitive limited event, but and the pro tour felt like it was an afterthought. It was just crammed into the corner and kind of like, I don't know.
The convention was definitely not built around it necessarily.
Yeah, exactly,
it wasn't the centerpiece. Yes, absolutely.
Which makes sense. It makes sense. Like that is the direction, and the vast majority of players who are there want that. They want that stuff. That's what the cons are now. And it's great. I had a blast and it was fun and everything, but it just had a totally different vibe than GPs used to have, or, Pro Tours used to have and stuff. So anyway, we'll see what happens with the game, but it's a fascinating kind of road we're on, and nobody really knows where we're going. I would love to see them take that ridiculous profit from Final Fantasy and reinvest it in the competitive circuit. Put up more, start the GP circuit again, start more competitive events. Nice. Like maybe there will be more casual players because I know there's a ton of casual players who love watching the Pro Tour. They love watching the pros do their thing because they're pros. They're way better than us, and it's even as a casual player, it's great to watch them. You learn something. You might see a deck idea that you didn't think of before or whatever.
And the reality is, like, if you're a better player, you'll enjoy your commander games more. Like, you just do.
Oh yeah, right.
Every time. Like, knowing what you're doing and being able to find creative solutions, and like you get that. You can pick up a lot watching the pros and learning what they're doing, and watching streams also, if you want to learn a little bit. That's a good way to do it. Just saying. Oh yeah, but that's not a very self-interested, self-promotional thing to say at all. But
we'll see.
Seeing the game played at the highest level, you learn a lot, and your deck building gets better, and you're also play limited, by the way, if you want to improve. Just saying.
Limited's great.
Holy cow, you learn a lot. Very good. You learn your fundamentals doing that. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to see them reinvest a little bit more in the scene. So we'll see if they do it. But oh well, let's not.
When they brought in when they brought in Huey Jensen as the director of play programs, that definitely looked like it was on the right track, and I feel like they've had some good moves on that front.
Yep.
Let's see if they do more, because they certainly can, and that'd be cool to see. So we're rooting for it.
Hopefully. 100%.
Yeah. Cool.
Anything else we should touch on, or you want to bring it in for a landing? I don't know. Anything else you guys wanted to mention?
I think we covered what I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same here too. I mean, we got a lot going, which is good. Edge of Eternities is going to be edgy.
It's gonna
be sweet. We're gonna be edge lords.
It's gonna be sweet.
We're gonna be total edge lords. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be edge lords. This is Damien's edge lord era.
All right. Yeah.
That was when I was 14. That era is long over. But
anyway. It's Edgehawks 42.
You know it.
I talk in a deep, brooding voice.
Yeah.
My feelings and emotions are an embodiment of my lander tokens that I crack going to the graveyard, where I bury myself deep in despair as I play more lands, crushing my opponent in this inevitable emotional wave of giant leviathans.
I find myself trapped in exile because I was paid for my warp cost. Previously.
Dear God. Unbelievable.
Oh, you think I can't play this
game?
game?
This is the edgiest stuff I've ever heard.
Oh my
You guys
goodness.
are edgelords.
That's it. We are now the edgelords.
Come to think of it, that was a missed opportunity for early access. I do, you know what? I have mascara. I don't have any. Or no, do I have eyeliner? I don't think I have an eyeliner pencil anymore. Anyway, I could have gone for
Put
it.
some.
I actually did get a bunch of makeup recently for a stage production I was on, so I could have done the whole like edgelord thing. That would have been anyway, missed opportunity.
Tuesday though.
For Tuesday, for launch day.
We have
yeah.
Oh yeah, launch day. Oh yeah, forgot.
Launch day.
Right.
Launch day's coming up on Tuesday. Yeah.
Question of the week. Do we have a question of the week? I don't.
I do not. I'm afraid. Yeah.
I
got one.
Fire away. What you got?
If you could warp any card from Edge of Eternities, what would it be and why?
So it has to be a warp card.
Has to be a warp card.
Which of the warp cards would I want to warp?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Which card and why?
I don't know all of them.
I mean, so I mentioned Starwinder earlier, and it's great.
Oh,
I'm a huge believer in Starwinder. I love it. There are a number of cards that had Void as well that were notable. One card, actually, you know what? And Damien, feel free to piggyback on this if you want, because I'm more than happy to pick up another one. I freaking love Warp. Quantum Riddler is a card that I haven't had an opportunity to talk about that I think is genuinely fantastic. Well, maybe not fantastic, but genuinely rock solid. I think it's just good. It's a 4/6 flyer for 5. When it enters, draw a card. And as long as you have one or fewer cards in hand, if you would draw one or more cards, you draw that many plus 1. So if you're hellbent when you play this, you draw 2 cards. And a 4/6 draw a card for 5 is fine, but not amazing, but it warps in for 2. So it's kind of like a Fibble Thip where it's just 2, it's a 2-drop, you draw a card. You do get a 4/6 body for a turn, so if you can do something with that, cool. And this is one of the most scammable warp creatures. If you have access to like Splash Portal, like that's actually a thing that I saw people doing, is warp this in for 2 and then Splash Portal it. And so here you are on turn 3, you've drawn 2 extra cards and you have a 4/6 Sphinx at the end of the turn. Warp creatures make Splash Portal much better. So I enjoy Quantum Riddler quite a bit.
If you can keep going down to 1 card and playing a card draw spell, then you get to draw 2 again.
Then you get to draw extra, yeah.
That's pretty good.
2 cards,
actually.
Play Opt again, draw 2 more, play another card. Last card is Sleight of Hand, or no, Sleight doesn't draw, right?
No.
Let's play some other card draw spell. Like you can keep going, right? I guess.
Yeah. In theory.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I think this one's
what would
pretty
I
good.
warp? I'm trying to think of in my limited games the most busted stuff I did with warp. I did do some crazy stuff with social engineering. I hate the social is such an awkward word for me to say, but it's a green enchantment.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 5 mana green enchantment with landfall, and whenever land you control enters, make a 2/2 robot. It's 3 colorless and 2 green with warp 2. So a couple of the games I played this into. There was another 2-drop that like put a land into play. I can't remember what it's called. And you play this, you play a land, you get the robot, you make another land, or if you play the turn 1 ramp 1-drop that there's a green creature that taps another permanent you control to make mana. I was able to like crack a lander immediately and like get 2 land drops, and then so basically on turn 3 you are getting 2 robots, putting like 2 lands into play, and then this thing goes to warp and you got to play it later. In limited, it was actually really good. I thought this might be too slow, but again, any card that pumps out bodies is insane in this format because the games go so long. But just being able to warp it in on 2 and getting like 2 bodies and 2 lands on turn 3 or whatever was really good.
It's pretty spacey.
Yeah.
But I probably not good enough for standard, but
but this kind of effect, like we saw Chocobo Racetrack as one that like it's a similar effect where it's the 5-drop with the landfall make a body, and it's just too slow for standard. But you see Janky Brews leveraging it every now and then, and that's fun. And this is similar to that, except I think far better. Honestly, like the Chocobos are obviously better tokens than these robots. But that warp is really relevant. If you're going to have 1 turn where you're going to crack like 2 fetch lands or do some kind of ramp, being able to simply pay 2 mana and then just kind of go off to the races and just have a bunch of bodies left behind, I feel like there are a lot of opportunities, even in constructed. Probably janky. It's probably not meta, but it looks interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
And if you're in a ramp
limited.
deck, yeah, and if you're ramping and then playing it back out on 5, having that's the other thing about warp is it's like adventure, right? Like you just have it in reserve for later. Like the fact that you do all of that and then effectively don't go down a card is pretty great. So
filling 2 spots on the curve is nice too. Like it plays as a 2-drop and it plays as a 5-drop, so it just fills both spots. You have a bunch of cards with warp that fill all the spots like that. It means you're just never going to have nothing to do with your mana, right? You're going to be able to put mana into these things.
You'll
no
always
what.
have like a turn of producing something.
Yeah, exactly. How about you,
I mean,
Astrals? What's your warp?
Yeah,
feature?
so what's your warp of choice?
Yeah,
I've got 2, but there are definitely 2 I'm very excited about, but the big one I think I'm really gonna like is the Warp Dragon. So it's a 5-mana 4/5 flying in haste. When it enters in, deals the damage to target creature and opponent controls. But the warp on this is 3, so I really like this for like mono red aggro. Just dropping in like a 4/5 flyer, ping out maybe like a Llanowar elf, swing in, and then 2 turns later, mono red runs out of threats. Well, this is an exile. I'm just going to replay this. And so like between turns 3 and 5, you've gotten in for 8 damage in conjunction. If you've got Swift Spear swinging in, Screaming Nemesis swinging in, whatever else. I think this is a kind of a sleeper. Sleeper's maybe not the right word, but I think this is surprisingly strong and not being considered enough just yet.
It is easy to underestimate. I definitely went up against it a couple of times and it punched up harder than I expected. The pinging, the one damage is very relevant. Like that's another thing. A lot of powerful cards in this set, or just kind of in standard in general right now, have 1 toughness. So being able to pick off a Llanowar elf or that 2/1 angel that we were talking about earlier, like that as an incidental bonus to this, like it's surprisingly like relevant. And 4 damage in the air on turn 3 is still decent.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I had in my paper pre-release, I had 2 of these in my red deck in my rack. That's in limited. One of them was the full art, like fancy, like alternate treatment one. So my opponent, when they saw the other one in game 2, they were like, "Wait, you got 2?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They lost to the other one in game 1, and then I played the alt art one. They're like, "That's not the same one. You're cheating." Yeah, it's very, very good in limited. So I'm not surprised. Possibly constructed playable. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
If it was 1 damage to any target, that would be it. That would be enough.
Completely
But
different.
not going to the face, like.
If this was 4/5 and when it enters, trigger your Screaming Nemesis, that'd be a lot better.
Actually, it's funny. I just remembered during early access, I played against Isaiah. Actually, he was drafting.
Oh yeah.
And I had this guy in Adventureland, and it was exactly lethal if I could ping him for 1, and he didn't realize I couldn't. So he just said "good game," and he was like gonna scoop. And then I'm like, he's saying "good game." It's not over, and he's like "good game," and then he DM'd me after. I'm like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I gave you the early good game. I didn't realize that Nova Hellkite couldn't go to the face." And I'm like, "I know, dude. If it could, it would have been lethal." Anyway, it's a very good one, but can't go to the face. So make sure you do that math when you're playing this.
Yes, that is. Yeah, and it's only a creature an opponent controls, which again with Screaming Nemesis running around, that's relevant. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that card's easy to underestimate. Yeah, I think it's quite solid. Very cool.
C'est tout, mon ami. That's it, my friends.
Oui, I think. Yeah.
All right.
Oui.
Nice.
Oh, you know what? One other final thought. I had about 6 different decks to prove this. Just trust me, you guys. To Nook Steadfast second is a trap.
Is it?
I love him, but he's a trap.
Oh, my hopes and dreams are crushed before even playing.
I know. Well, and actually, so the Extinguisher Battleship is actually my answer for what I want to warp. It's just off this guy. Is how I'm doing it. Okay. But yeah, in any event. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Y'all are freaking amazing. And don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review in your podcast app of choice. And yeah, we'll be back next week to chat about more stuff. We'll likely be doing a deeper dive into limited. So that should be a good time. Definitely pop on in, check us out. In the meantime, gentlemen, again, thank you. And dear listener, thank you. We appreciate you. Catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.